Welcome back to Head Kick Audio. Now, your first interview, you didn't get it. I didn't get to air it, right? Because your fight ended up getting canceled. So since then, Ivey, what have you been working on in the gym? And we'll get to the opponent in a little bit, but I want to know what you've been up to since the last time we talked.
Pretty much just working on my wrestling, all like my weaknesses. Like I know that for the most part, my anticipation of anyone that I'm gonna fight, that once I like start throwing hands at them, that they're gonna go for a takedown eventually. Like they're not gonna stay up. So that's my expectations of everyone. So we're just working on wrestling, getting back up to our feet. And then it's kind of crazy because the style that I had ready for my last opponent that we're working on is that's not there anymore. So we've already went from RUF 39, that style, to making a style for RUF 40, and then now we have a new style for RUF 41. So yeah, it's gonna be different. That's all I gotta say. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be fun.
Well, fun is definitely one way that I would explain to somebody your fighting style, right?
Oh yeah.
You hit some incredible angles. You're very unorthodox with your striking, and you're not afraid of a firefight.
Yeah.
I dare anybody to go watch your fight with Corpus and tell me that that was not an exciting ass fight. Okay, because that thing was a barn burner, fight of the night for sure. It was absolutely insane. Now let's talk about the new opponent, right? RUF 41, you're going to be taking on Austin Wourms. Okay, he's fought for RUF several times, and he's a pretty decent grappler in his own right. And then, of course, all fights start on the feet. So tell me, how you feel about this opponent, the fighting style, and, without giving too much away, of course, how you plan to handle this guy.
Like I said, it sounds like really simple and like kind of yeah, it just sounds really simple. But like for me, like literally everyone that I fight, I throw a few hands and they go for takedown. So that's like literally what I expect for everyone. So like no matter who I fight, it's the same like game plan: throw hands and block takedowns, and that's about it. So there's no like secret sauce to it or anything. It's just really basic, but pretty much just go out there and flow. Go out there, flow, have fun, and then be able to handle the opportunities when they get out there. So
Okay, and you've had 3 back-to-back camps. This will have been your third fight in like 3 months, right?
yeah.
So the gym. Okay, so things in the gym, they got ready for you. You fucking secured a huge victory, and then got right back to work. Got on another card. It fell through. Okay, and then boom, we're booked again. We're booked against a well-known kid in our circuit, right? So how have things been in the gym, and who's been helping you prepare? And has it been different with each camp?
I would say not really. I mean, for me, like when I do my stand up, since I'm used to fighting bigger guys, usually those are the guys that I'm sparring for the stand up, just to spar bigger guys. And then for the wrestling, I'm sparring smaller guys because they're faster. Um, but nothing's really changed. I mean, to be honest, like we're just keeping it up. Like we're just keeping our eye on the prize, and then like whatever distractions come from the side, like we just handle them as they come. But like nothing has really changed. Like I said, like my game plan is always the same. The only difference is that we're like specifically adding certain tools. So the flow is already there, but then we're just like kind of throwing stuff here and there, and then but that's about it.
So you're making a soup, and you're just throwing the ingredients in.
Yeah.
That's
Crouch
what it
just
looks
tells
like.
me like, oh yeah, throw that in. I'm like, all right, I'll put that in, and then it is a process because then once you like add something, it becomes like essentially it becomes a new object. So you have to like almost like figure out how to work with this new a weapon. So you have a weapon and then you throw something in new. So now it's a new weapon. So now you have to like almost get time with that new weapon. I don't know if you've seen. Have you watched Dragon Ball Z? But yeah, like when Golden Frieza, like was first Golden Frieza, and he was like, "I'm not used to this body yet," and Goku knew it. It's kind of like that, where like I'm constantly being the Golden Frieza, but like I have to like adapt myself to that new style. So that I think that's the hardest part, because with new style comes new cardio that I haven't been used to. So that's like probably the hardest part about this whole process. But it's still fun because it's like something new always around the corner. It's never stagnant. So it's been fun.
Well, and you say that you get all these new tools, but you do everything so effortlessly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You make it look like you have been, training that way for years, and it
Yeah.
could have been something that was just added in the last camp. What do you attribute that to?
I feel like I attribute that to one, like I'm not scared to fail. So like a lot of times, like now, like it looks cool that I'm doing it, and looks like I'm doing it effortlessly. But like when I first started like doing this like funky stuff, like people looked at me like, "What are you doing? That's failing, that's failing." And at first it bothered me. It took me forever to be able to train in front of other people. Like I always had to train alone. And then eventually, as my style got better, I got more comfortable with myself. Now I'm able to train in front of other people. So I attribute that to like just not caring about failing. Like failure is just part of the process. And even if I do it in a fight, I feel like with my years of training, even if I fail, I'll still be able to recover myself. So if you've seen like, especially like my past three, 3 to 4 fights, you always see me trying like funky stuff and like, oh, that didn't work out. But I still got the experience, and essentially you don't know if something really works unless you try it in a real fight. Like your first step is like trying it by yourself, doing it on the heavy bag, seeing how your body flows, and then second step is doing it against your sparring partners. You're like, okay, I can do it in sparring. I can do it in sparring. All right. And then last step is when you know it's legit is if you're able to do it in a fight. If you can't do it in a fight, then you can't really call it a real technique. So that like for me, that's like essentially like when I'm fighting, that's me trying out new stuff that I think might work. And that's why you've seen in my last fight that like I started off with one style, and then by the third round I had a different style, but it was more efficient. So like literally I was just figuring out my way through it, and then by the third round I'm like, okay, I got it. I know it works for him. So yeah.
Well, and to be fair, you were coming off a layoff in your last fight. You
Oh
had a
yeah.
couple years away from the sport, so you were literally just, you were jumping in and just figuring everything out as you went. So I mean, that's completely understandable. But still, even then, man, even then, because everybody knew you were coming off of a layoff. So ring rust, y'all put air
Yeah,
quotes
yeah,
around it,
yeah.
don't believe in it, but it was to be expected. You know what I mean? It was to be expected, and really it looked more to me like a filling out process, and then he ganked your back. You know what I mean? And he was a backpack for a while,
Yeah.
and then after that, you pretty much took over from there. So I mean, people can call it what they want. I'd say you were probably just getting you know you're
Warm.
just figuring the fight itself out,
Yeah.
not how to fight, because you know how to do it. You know what I mean? And you do it well. So if that was quote unquote ring rust,
Yeah.
bro,
No, yeah. The
you.
the more that we do it, the better it's gonna get. And essentially the same thing that happened in my fight happens to me in sparring. Because I'm always coming up with new stuff, new ideas. Like, oh, it'd be so cool if I did this. It's so cool if I did that. So I'll go into sparring with that same idea. Like where like the first 3 to 4 rounds, it always takes me a little bit. It takes me some time to warm up mentally and figure out what works and what doesn't. And then by the fifth and sixth round, almost like a marathon runner. Like I used to do marathon running too, but like by the third mile, then you start like. But the first and second mile, it's always like rough and rusty. Like I don't know if this was a good idea. And then you hit that third and fourth mile, and it's like, oh, okay. So I feel like my fighting kind of hits the same kind of yeah, quote, I guess.
Okay, well, that makes sense. The only time you're going to catch me running is away from somebody that
Uh,
is bigger than me, right? Because I don't want to get squished or run into the fridge to grab a beer. You know what I mean?
uh,
So those are about the only two times that you. Oh well, if there's donuts, I'm a pretty big donut.
hey, yeah, no, they got some good donuts down here in Arizona. So
They really do. We got an Amy's down here, and that place is fucking ridiculous. Do they have an Amy's up in
No,
your?
I haven't tried that yet. Like I don't really know a lot of people that know about donuts. The only place that I've tried is Bosa's. Bosa's is the only place that I've really tried, and they have pretty good donuts. But
Do they have crazy ass donuts like ones
not,
with
I mean, no,
bacon?
no, they don't have like crazy donuts. But their bread quality is good. So
Well, you come down to Tucson, I'll take you to Amy's.
okay,
Yeah, I'll take you to Amy's. You just have to make sure that you don't have a camp or a fight coming
yeah,
up.
no. I always have to do like the day after, and now like I'm trying to get it to where I'm not doing the whole week, and then maybe just like a day after, and then I gotta like get right back on it because I'll get like it's almost like an obsession or something. Like once I get one taste of it, like something takes over me, and I can never get enough because I'll do everything that I thought I wanted to do, and then I'll wake up the next day and you're like, you know what? I didn't do that and I didn't do that. And it's that same process every day that I wake up. I'm like, oh, you know what? I forgot about that. And I forgot. And there's always going to be something you forgot about. You're never going to have everything. So you just got to like do one day and then just, cut it off. So,
I can respect that. I can definitely respect that. I have no cutoff date, so I eat whenever. You know what
yeah,
I
that's
mean?
retirement for me. Like when I can just like go ham every day and just train. So that's the love life right there. So,
Well, you're far from it, buddy. You're far from it. Again, you're competing at RUF 41, which takes place on June 20th. That's going to be Father's Day. It's going to be at the
oh,
Celebrity Theater, right? And you got your boy on commentary again, and it's going to be a great night of fights. We're continuing the Road to One tournament, the heavyweight tournament for one championship. That's going to be sick. We got
yeah,
you on the pro card, which is always fun for everybody. So it's the 8th, right? So we are 12 days away.
yeah,
12 days away. So your last hard sparring is coming up, right?
yeah. Tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. See, I'm getting closer now. I'm getting closer to this. I've almost got it nailed down to the day because everybody says about a week. But when they say a week, they mean, 7 to 10 days somewhere in there. So
Yeah, at first I didn't know it was gonna be on Sunday. I figured out it was on Sunday like a couple weeks ago, or maybe just a week ago. I figured out it was on Sunday, but I thought it was gonna be on a Saturday, and then I figured out like, oh,
Yeah. So what we're doing is because there's no football, we're taking advantage of that.
okay,
So once football comes back, our asses are back to Saturday.
Saturday, okay,
So the last hard sparring session. Now, I don't ever really talk about the intensity of the last hard sparring and what all does that entail? Do guys, since it's the last one, do they go extra or do they take it easy? Like, how does that whole thing happen?
I feel like it's pretty much the same, but I think maybe like your partners fill it out. So like you might be like a little bit like totally wore out because most likely when you're in the middle of your last hard sparring session, you're in the middle of your weight cut. So you don't want to do like too much damage while you're cutting weight. So I feel like they push you hard, but your opponents also know like, okay, like if you're starting to like kind of like, they're not going to just like go ham on you. So,
Okay.
but the last one it has more weight to it mentally, where you're thinking like this is the last hard one, and then I feel like that one is the closest version to a real fight. Not like being like going hard wise, but mentally, like you're mentally projecting your fight onto your so you're trying to win every round. So I think that it's just for me, it's like mentally more impactful. And the coach will tell you like, oh, this is the last one before the fight. So yeah, depending on how hard you want to win your fight is how you're gonna spar. Even if you're tired or even if you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, you're gonna like push through. Because if you win your sparring rounds, or you win mentally, then you win in your fight. So it's the last hard push, except for wrestling. Wrestling is we have sparring on Wednesday, but like realistically, like Thursday is wrestling, so that's like the real hard push. For me, like I can stand up all day and move around, blah blah blah. But the wrestling, like you're kind of forced. For me personally, you're forced to be in that grind. There's no running like, okay, let me just stick my jab and move around. It's like no, you get in there and you start working. So for me, that's the last real push.
Yeah, and wrestling is a whole nother beast cardio wise.
Yeah,
Like you said, you can, dance around and throw hands all day, but you can also manipulate your opponent so that you can take a break whenever you really want to.
yeah,
With
yeah,
wrestling, you can't fucking do that. It is go, 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 because the minute you take your foot off the gas pedal, that's when he's going to screw you over.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
take. So I've always found wrestling cardio like just a savage weapon to have. You know
There's
what I
no
mean?
substitute for it. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna go running instead, or like, there's no like, I'm gonna go swimming or whatever. Like, you gotta do wrestling to be better at wrestling. There's no like going out about it. So yeah, when I first got down here, I used to like dread going into wrestling. I'm like, do I really want to be a fighter that bad? Like, I gotta show up to wrestling twice a week. But now that I've been here almost 3 years, now like I have no trouble just going in there. But for me, it was just mentally like when you're so used to being good at something and then you have to do something else that you're not so good at, it's a little bit like, yeah, it's a little bit hard on your ego to kind of like, take yourself down a peg and like, be a beginner again. And, you have people that are telling you other things. Like they're like people that haven't been in the fight game as long as you, like, oh yeah, put your hand on the knee and go up like this, and you have to like humble yourself. Like, okay, I don't know everything. Like I might be a better fighter, but I don't know everything. So yeah, it was a humbling experience. But now that I just told the coach the other day, like now it's gotten to a point where like I don't mind. I don't mind working hard. I don't mind wrestling, and I'm starting to enjoy it to the point where I have to like pull myself back and tell myself like, hey, Ivy, you're not a wrestler. Like, don't fall in love with this stuff too much. Like, I know what works for me, and so like I have to like kind of pull myself back because I have kind of a obsessive personality. If I really like something, then I'll want to do it, and it'll affect my style. So I like have to like almost like sacrifice things. So even though I like wrestling a lot, I have to like be like, you know what, like that's not my thing. Like it might be fun here, but it's not going to be fun in a real fight. So
Well, that makes sense, but you falling in love with wrestling is a scary fucking thought for any man who gets in the cage with you.
yeah,
That is about the scariest thing because you got some of the best hands that I've seen live. And if you get good and, start utilizing that wrestling offensively rather than defensively,
yeah.
nope, you won't ever catch me in a cage with you,
I
buddy.
think I think we'll get there eventually, just naturally. I was telling someone the other day for my fight for Shamrock was like a couple years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm not a wrestler, like I said. So before I did my fight, I told my coach like, don't expect me to do takedowns. Like I know we're practicing takedowns and like wrestling inside practice, but don't expect me to do takedowns. I'm not gonna do takedowns. And then I get in my fight, and now I'm like doing doubles and like taking a guy down. I'm just flowing. And I'm like, it just happened. I wasn't even thinking about it. And like looking back on the fight, I'm like, it looked natural for me. But like in my head before I go into the fight, I'm like, oh no, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. But like when you feel it, you just go with it. So I'm sure that like in the future, especially how much I wrestle and how much I enjoy it, it'll end up happening. I have a lot of tools that a lot of people don't know I have, like Muay Thai experience, like elbows, knees, kicks. I know how to do all these things, but these are things that like I put to the side so I can focus on just my style, like my boxing style. That's what I have fun with the most. So it might come out natural. I think it just takes the right opponent. I think I ended up throwing a knee and an elbow um, in my last fight. I didn't plan to, but like I said, if the opportunity presents itself, then I'll take it. So
Absolutely. You take whatever openings they give you.
yeah, you
You-
just flow, bro. You just flow.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, that's just a scary, dangerous thought. That is a scary, dangerous thought. Now, this fight is at 155 pounds. And Austin has competed upwards, I think, like 160. I think he's done 165, and I think he's also done 70. So he's fought, guys that are a lot bigger, on the scale. So what are your thoughts about, a guy who has experience against big guys in a fight?
I would say that we're in the same boat. Like in boxing, I fought as high as 200. In MMA, I fought as high as 85. So I used to be like a cruiserweight in boxing.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then in MMA, like when I was an amateur, I won a belt at 85 and I won a belt at 70 as an amateur. So
Okay.
I have experience like with heavier guys too. So I'm like, I guess we're in the same boat. But that's like for me, like it's crazy because like when I fight guys in my own weight class, like I feel like I'm being a bully. I mean, Koa was a big guy. Like when he went in there, he was a big guy. But for the most part, when I see guys in my own weight class, I just feel like a bully because I'm so used to fighting bigger guys that, like, for me, it feels like I'm in the wrong weight class or they shouldn't be in my weight class. Like I would say more of that I'm in the wrong weight class or I'm taking advantage of something. But they seem so small to me because most of them are like 5'9", I guess 5'10", maybe. I mean, maybe some of them get up there like 5'10", 5'11". Most of these guys are like 5'9", 5'9", 5'10". So for me, it just looked like small guys. So like a lot of times, if I spar when I spar guys in my own weight class, it's most of the time so I can keep my speed up. But for the most part, my favorite guys to spar are like the bigger guys that are like 85 and up. So, I mean, more to him though. Like, I mean, he might feel the same way, but
Well, for sure. And I think he's more of a natural 55er. And, yeah, he fits the weight class pretty well. I think he's about 5'9" or 5'10" too. So he's right around that
the
cultural norm that
average.
you're talking about. Yeah, for lightweights. Now, it kind of, one of those things about talking about weight classes and then, bringing in height into the equation. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of makes me feel like I should lay off the donuts because again, I'm 5'6", 5'7" on a good day, and I'm sitting at about $180. So maybe we got to do something about this here. Bringing all that to the forefront. Like, man, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, the fight game is like really like I think what more and more people are starting to notice is you have to find out where you have the most advantages. Whether it's cardio, height, or whatever, like what weight class do you have the most advantage? Like 170, I felt comfortable and I always had the most cardio. I was always pushing the pace, but I feel like at 155, like all my attributes are like amplified by 10. So like I still have the cardio, but now I have the height and the range. The only thing that I'm sacrificing is strength. But I take that. Like I'll give that away because most of my style, I don't really produce power through conventional methods, like sitting down on my legs and then 1-2 or like turning my hips. All my power comes from like turning my hips and moving my feet. So that's why you see me moving around so much and then trying to turn my hips. So it all matches in together because like when I get taken down, even if my arms are like dead tired, I can still produce that power because it's coming from my hips or me moving around. So
Mhm.
I feel like my style is tailored for, my weight class and my size. So I feel pretty comfortable.
Well, I mean, and you make the weight pretty easily. So it's not like, you're struggling and, shaking on the scale and shit.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, as long as you can make the weight, why not take advantage of, your physical attributes, right? Because, I mean, if I was fighting, realistically, the weight class would be flyweight because I'm just too fucking short and I'm not the strongest fucking guy in the world. Like, I'm strong. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But some of the guys from 35, they're cutting from where I'm sitting right now,
Yeah. No,
They're cutting from like 70 and 85 nowadays, you know what I mean? Because everybody's trying to take advantage of those attributes. So I definitely understand what you're saying. about that. And, like I said, you're making the weight easy, and there's really no reason to make any adjustments accordingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always tell myself like I don't work hard to make hard money. Like I work hard to make easy money. Like I don't want to go in there and like the fight to be even and like to be like a battle. Like I'm going in there to dominate. Like what's the point of working so hard if you gotta work hard again in your fight? Like I'm gonna work hard so I can make easy money. So that's my mind state.
I fucking love that, man. I fucking love that. So again, hard sparring is tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's no traveling because it's here again. So you get to sleep in your own bed. Now you've traveled to fight. So how does that I mean, obviously sleeping in your own bed is the easiest. You get to eat your own food, you're in charge of everything. But when you're traveling, how much different is it?
I would honestly say, for me personally, it's more peaceful. Like when you travel somewhere and you're like just in a hotel, like everything's taken care of. And I'm not gonna say I'm a messy guy, but the closer I get to that like that time where I have to make weight, like I'm not worrying about like what's on the floor or like if my clothes are in the drawer or like I'm like a zombie, like just go from point A to point B. So like when you're in a hotel, you don't have to worry about anything. You just ask for it. So I would say it's more peaceful for the most part. I don't like driving. I don't like being on airplanes, so that's probably like the worst part. But then when you're actually there, I feel like it's really peaceful.
Okay, why don't
And
you like it?
I also have dogs too, so like that's my time. From the past few fights, that's my time away from the dogs. I love my dogs, but like when we go to a hotel, like they always want to go outside. Well, I'll say there's one dog that always wants to go outside, so I don't really get that much sleep. And like I said, dogs are like children. You love them, but I just need some time, time to myself to like kind of relax and whatnot. So I see like when not you, but like when I go to fights, other places, it's like a free vacation, and
Hmm.
all I gotta do is just perform. So
Yeah,
free
well, I mean,
vacations and perform.
yeah, absolutely. And performing is what you do. Like I said, I can't wait to see you perform. I love your fighting style. You're not afraid of a fight, and your last fight, like I said, after that round of him hugging your back, it was a fight, and dude did not want to go away. He did not
Yeah,
want to
no, he
go
was in
away.
there.
Yeah, he was definitely in there. So we know that when Austin's in a cage, it's an exciting fight. We know when you're in a cage, it's an exciting fight. So I am expecting, now you don't have to make me any promises here, but I am full on expecting a badass fight here. I think you're going to deliver, and it's going to be, it's going to be one of the better fights on the card for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. And the like speak on like you saying like I'm not afraid to trade hands. That comes from me like literally wanting the person to do anything but kick me and take me down. I'm like just worry about these hands, bro, and like just like fight with me. Like if you want to trade, we can trade. I won't throw no kicks. I won't take you down. We just trade. So like that's where it comes from. Where I'm like just do anything but take me down and throw kicks.
So with these interviews, it's really, really difficult when a fighter says something really funny because if I start laughing out loud, nobody can hear what you're saying because we
Oh no.
that was really tough for me. That was that was some of the funniest shit I've ever heard a fighter say, but also true because you don't want the guy to kick you and you don't want him to take you down. You want him to play into your hands, literally.
Yeah.
You want him to play into your hands. So thank you. I needed that. That was good.
A lot of people used to ask me why do you keep your hands down? Like why don't you put your hands up? And I'm like, I want this target. I want this to be like the most alluring target that you ever seen. Like, you know what? I can't resist. I gotta hit him in the face. His hands are down right in front of me. How can I resist? And essentially saying like, ignore my legs, ignore takedowns, ignore anything else you're talking about. Just look at this head. You want to punch it, so just go for it. Like anything else, just go for it, bro.
Oh man, am I the color
So
of your
that's the
shirt?
game plan. I just put my game plan out there. So now you know my game plan.
Well, Ed, when you're in the midst of a battle like that, it's kind of hard to ignore that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When a guy's hands are down, period, you're gonna take your shot. So, I mean, it's pretty freaking smart. I think it's
People want to prove something. Like I seen it happens in sparring too. Like even though we're like all comrades and whatnot, like when I have my hands, I think they gotten used to it now. They know what I'm trying to do. But some people, like when they see my hands down, they see my face right in front of them, they're like, oh, this guy thinks he's hot stuff. He's gonna have his hands down. Oh, I'm gonna show you. And I'm like, all right, bro. Like, so it's like all playing into my plan, but like it affects everyone. People feel a certain disrespect. And you see fans like that too. They're like, oh, this guy thinks he's hot stuff. He got his hands down, like, oh, he ain't taking this serious. And it's the same thing for other fighters where they see another fighter and they're like, this guy isn't taking it serious. He think he could stand in front of me and have his hands down. Like, I'm gonna show him. And like okay, bro, like just fall into it. Fall into it.
well, that's genius. That is just pure genius.
Yeah. There's a system to the chaos. There's a system to it. It looks like I'm just like being like really cocky or something, but like no, there's a system to it.
To anybody that's never been taken down and held down for a full or 3 rounds, right? Or to somebody who's never taken a really good leg kick, and I'm
Oh,
not talking Joe Schmo at the bar showing you, oh, well, I just kick your leg and it'll hurt. No, an actual professional throwing a legit calf kick, that's gonna fuck you up, and you do not want that. You do not want that as just a viewer. You know, in the cage, you don't want that. As a competitor, you want to fight the way that you want to fight because
yeah.
that's you're gonna secure your victory. So absolutely, and fuck all that leg kick shit.
That's
That's just
essentially what got me into MMA is being a boxer, taking leg kicks for the first time and then like getting taken down for the first time. I'm like, I've been living a lie my whole life and I can't ignore this. Like this hurts and I gotta address this. Like this is real life. So that's what like really made my transition from boxing to MMA. Where like I'm like, oh yeah, boxing is like the whole gentleman rule. You know, you're in a street fight, you guys throw your hands, no takedowns, no leg kicks. But then like when I went to like a Muay Thai gym, um, taking those leg kicks for the first time, like, oh, like there's no feeling like it. Like when you get your first leg kick and you get taken down for the first time, like it's like life changing. Boom! It's like, oh, like I've been living in a bubble my whole life, and like now it's almost like being in the Matrix, and you take the red pill, and you can't go back. You can't go back. You can't go back. You gotta live. You gotta live in reality now. Even if you want to ignore it, you know what's there in the back of your head. So yeah, I took the red pill. MMA was my red pill.
man. Oh, this is good. This has been an awesome interview, man. You literally, I'm on the verge of tears from laughing. That is how good this has been. But again, I keep saying again. I need to stop doing that. The fight is on June 20th, Father's Day, over at the Celebrity Theater. The opponent is Awesome Star Killer
Oh
Worms
yeah.
at 155 pounds. This is on the pro main card, so this is going to be right before the Road to One tournament. That's going to end the card, so it's in a real sweet spot. You can go get the pay-per-views. And is it still stuck? Is it still all caps?
For the live ticket. When you do the pay-per-view link, it'll just have a list of names where you like click the arrow, and you'll like kind of scroll through. But the all caps is for like the live tickets.
And is it your first initial and then your last name?
Yeah, so I Nixon, all caps, INIXON.
Okay, so that's if you're going to purchase your ticket in advance, you go to it's roughNation.com. I think they got away from the .net. Anyway,
Yeah.
you go there, put in iNixon as your code, and that'll help. That'll help Ivy here continue this journey
Yeah.
to make it to where he wants to go. He wants to make it to the big leagues, not
The
that
big
rough
show.
Not that RUF is a small show, but it pales in comparison to the bigger ones. And we're on the verge of some big things here. We're working with One Championship, which is a great partnership. They got me as a commentator, which is a great partnership. I really can't think of anybody better. I really can't.
Yeah, me neither. I don't
Yes.
know much people, but if it was, it'd be you.
There we go. Now we're talking. So 12 days, I'll be seeing you. 11, actually, I'll be seeing you hit the scale. And then, of course, we watch you fight the next day. So before I let you go, you got to answer one question. We got to do this again. We got to do this again, buddy. So on June 20th, after Jeff announces you as the winner,
Yeah.
what are you having for the post-fight victory meal? Now, you know this is my thing.
I haven't really done for this one. I haven't really done much research into it. I still haven't went to Rehab Burger yet. So I think that's probably where I'm gonna go. I didn't go there last time because I didn't fight. But
Literally had that 2 nights ago.
Oh yeah, what'd you have?
It was a big old messy fucking thing.
Oh yeah,
I don't even
all
remember
of
what it
them are
was.
like that, bro. All of them are like that. I've seen all the pictures, and it's just like wholeheartedly American style, like just like boom, 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 like just a whole bunch of toppings. Don't even like need to like make it all neat. Just bam, 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 right on top. You just.
It's a mess in between 2 buns, and it's great.
It's delicious.
So it's a perfect post-fight victory meal. I'm 100% down with that. I'd like to give you as much time as you'd like to thank anybody, training partners, coaches, management team. Go ahead and take the floor.
I just like to thank all my training partners at the lab, and I think that's about it. Like everyone knows who they are, so no reason to say names. There's probably too much names, and you don't want to say everyone's name but that one guy. So
Right.
I'm gonna say everyone knows who you are. Everyone that works with me, even if you're just there, you're setting the vibe. Even if you don't trade with me personally, you're still setting the vibe, still setting the culture, and we out here. We're out here to take over. I don't know if you've seen, but like Rich Franklin is gonna be there too at the show. Like this pretty dope. UFC legend.
Yeah, UFC legend and one VP. He's the vice president over there for One Championship. So he'll be in the house. There's going to be a whole mess of fighters there to support you guys and to support the show. So, dude, it's going to be a phenomenal night. So anybody looking to purchase tickets, get on it with Ivey Nixon at checkout. Or if you got to do the pay-per-view, click on Ivey when you're purchasing your pay-per-view. Like I said, everything is going to help this man. It's going to help our organization, and it's going to help the sport. So I'm stoked. I know you're stoked. I know you're stoked.
Sir. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. The fans, the fighters, the promoters, the managers. Everyone's winning. UFC 41. Not UFC. RUF. RUF 41. RUF. I'm like, for me personally, like, I want to be in the UFC so bad. Like, I'm just like, oh, yeah, UFC. I'm about to be in the UFC. But, like, no, RUF. Like, yeah.
Yeah, RUF 41.
RUF 41. Sorry, RUF.
No. It's all good. It's all good. Everybody knows where we aim to be in this sport, so it's not a knock at all. I'll see you in a week and a half, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Until next time.